Hi, it's Anne here, and today's video is my weekly Shop My Stash video. I've missed a couple of weeks, so I'm trying to get back into this. And yeah, the last time I filmed this would have been what you saw were my picks. So I just want to recap these picks. And then I have a couple other picks that I need to talk about because I did select a few items last week. So just kind of quickly running down this stuff. I never actually needed to use this, so I didn't actually use that. I thought I might have needed it for this, the Becca foundation, but it turned out this was actually a really good color match for me right now. Definitely very pigmented. On its own, using it like I would use any of my other foundations, it's like way too much. It's super pigmented, and it just feels very full coverage, and I'm just not used to that. But I mixed it with the Hollywood Flawless filter and sort of did like a light sort of wash of it, I guess, and I really liked the way that looked and how it felt. And I don't know, I have a feeling it was primarily the foundation, but I combined, like, I wore the foundation and I put the CoverGirl powder on top, and I'll put a picture up of my mask that I wore that day to work, and there was like no foundation on the inside of my mask. Most days, like where the nose, where it's like it touches my nose, the bridge of my nose, I always have foundation, usually on my chin, like the chin part, because I lean on my face all the time when I have my mask on, and I forget that I have the mask on, and I'm like, ah, crap. But yeah, I was shocked. Now, I did only wear that mask for half a day because I was only in the office for half a day that day. But still, usually I have like foundation pretty much right away. So I was kind of really impressed with that. I'm pretty sure it's this foundation. It's definitely like a drier, thicker formula compared to pretty much all of my other foundations, at least the ones that I've used so far, even compared to the stick foundation that I'm using in my my Project Pan. That still has a bit more slip to it. It doesn't dry down the way this one sort of like dries down. So that was interesting. Again, I've talked about this. I like this primer. It's nothing special, but I like it. Like, it's nice to use. This was really pretty. I wore this in a video. I looked pretty rough in the video, but this was really nice. I really enjoyed this. The Juicy Pang blusher. This is like a great everyday blusher. It's very, very light. Like, it's very not pigmented, but it's kind of nice mixing that up with my like pigmented blush for my Project Pan. So yeah, I really enjoyed, like, this was just a great blush to put on. It was just such an easy everyday blush. I really enjoyed that. This was really pigmented, opposite, and kind of hard to wear. I'm a little too pale for that right now. I really enjoyed the purple eyeliner. I don't really remember this. This I'm ready to say goodbye to. I'm not calling this a declutter. I'm going to call it an empty because I've had this I bought this last year and I used it on and off for months, so it's definitely like past its usage date. It's the e.l.f. Lash It Loud. I just don't like this. I used it a couple times and then I was like, I just didn't want to reach for it. And in my mind, if I don't want to reach for a product, it's done. I'm done with it. So this is one I don't want to keep. So that's going in my empties. The other thing that I talked about maybe decluttering is this. This is the Ardell pen. I'm not ready to declutter this yet. I still kind of want to keep playing with this in the future. But potentially I could see myself decluttering it by the end of the year. So that was the picks that I had from my last video. Like I said, it's been a few weeks since I filmed my last video, and I was getting a little bit kind of bored of some of these products, particularly the face products, and I wanted to mix it up a little bit. So I did pull out the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Bronze It bronzer. Nice, easy bronzer for me to wear right now. It's fairly light. This is in the shade 01 Light. Yeah, that was kind of a nice, easy bronzer to wear. I did pull out the Rare Beauty blush. I feel like this blush I'm starting to get better acquainted with. When I first bought this blush, I was really unimpressed with it. I felt like it didn't show up. I could blend it away. You just got to go in hard. You got to really build it up, and then it works. It's actually very similar in tone to the Pure Nata blush that I have in my Project Pan. So yeah, very similar style blush, or color blush. I pulled this out because I actually wore this in a video, I think. Like, I grabbed it for a video for some reason, and then I just like, I guess I should just grab it to use it. So I did use this, I think, once or twice. I think I wore that in my last Project Pan update. This is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in Opal. It's a nice color. This would be better suited probably for me to use in the summertime. It looks okay on. It's actually very almost subtle looking because it's very close to my skin tone, but the undertone is kind of dark. So like you can probably see there, like it matches very well with my skin, but like you can see the depth. Like it's just got a bit of darkness in the undertone, and I feel like that kind of looks a bit weird on me right now because I'm so pale. So, I mean, it was a nice color. Anyway, this was a nice eyeliner to use. This is the Gosh eyeliner in the shade Metal Brass. So I liked having something like this that was just not black, not as severe as black. I guess I can swatch this guy too. It's sort of it's a really weird color. It's like it's almost like gray, brown, olive. It's sort of in between all of those colors, so it's really nice. I really enjoy that color. I pulled this concealer out. This is the Benefit Boing Industrial Concealer in the shade number 1. I should have pulled this out 2 weeks ago because I needed this. When I pulled this out last week, I was like, oh, hallelujah. Something that's actually covering up my horrible dark circles right now. So I actually think I might keep this out just to keep using because, yeah, it's definitely been a bit of a saving grace. This is just a sample of the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. I actually did a whole video on this. I don't think this primer really does a whole lot for me. And then I pulled this sample out. I'm going to keep this out as well because obviously since I've opened this, same with the primer, obviously since I've opened both of them, I need to kind of finish them up. This is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation in the shade Vanilla. This shade is actually a really good match for me right now. It's a little yellow. I need to look online to see what their other shades are. But like depth-wise, it's a good shade. And I really like this. I see why this is a popular foundation. It definitely like, kind of like the Becca one. This one's way more liquidy. Like it's very liquidy, but it dries down. Like it sort of dries down to like a powdery finish, which I really like. Like, I don't know, it has a really nice finish to it. I can see why this is really popular. I've always wanted to try this foundation. I really like this sample. This has been a great sample. I've used this at least 3 times. I can probably get 2 more uses out of this. Definitely 1 more use for sure. Yeah, I am definitely interested in buying this. I feel like I've seen this foundation at Winners and Marshalls, so I think I might hold off. And if I see it there, then maybe I might buy it. Or like, I know Too Faced does like sales sometimes, so maybe I would hold off until then. But yeah, I see why this is a popular foundation. I really liked the way it looked on my skin. And I was surprised because it is so liquidy. Kind of caught me off guard when I like squeezed it out of the package and it went everywhere. Because I don't always like super liquidy foundations. I feel like they sit in my pores sometimes. But for some reason, that one doesn't. It really sat nicely on my skin. But again, I feel like the shade's a little yellow for me. So yeah, those were the picks that I've been using for the last couple of weeks. So now let's get into some new picks finally. Okay, here is like the top of my drawers, and then I have my drawers below here. I just want to say it's very surreal filming this. Where my camera is right now is where Harley's blankets usually are, and whenever I film these videos, he always gets a bit perturbed that I have to move the blankets. And most of the time when I'm filming, you guys, especially you guys that have been with me for a while, you've heard him at some point in the background whining or crying because, I don't know, he always had like this issue, especially when I filmed in here because it was a different location because I guess I wasn't paying attention to him. I don't know, but he was always kind of making noises, so I was always having to stop to like let him make his little noises and then start again, and it's a little weird. Anyway, the other thing I forgot to mention at the beginning, and I always forget to mention, is when we start going through these drawers, they're going to get emptier and emptier because what I am doing is, as I pick an item, I take it out of the drawer, I use it for the week, and then it goes into a box because I want to make sure I'm actually picking something new each week and not picking the same things over and over again, because I did a Shop My Stash a while ago, a few years ago, I think, and I found that it was like hard to remember when I picked and not picked, and I knew I was picking things that I'd already picked before. So yeah, I really want to use this as like a whole collection Shop My Stash. And I calculated originally that this would probably take me through 6 months. It's probably gonna take me a little bit longer, but yeah, probably take me about just over half of the year, I think, to get through the majority of my collection. There might be a few stragglers in that realm, but pretty much everything in half the year. So up here is my eye products. So I've been kind of using a lot of the liquid ones. I'm gonna maybe switch it up. I think I'm gonna use this week. This is the Laura Mercier, what do they call it? Caviar Stick Eye Color. I think, I don't know what shade this is in. It was the birthday gift from last year. You can see my little sticker on it from July 2022. That sticker's probably not going to stay on. So there's a little swatch of that. I think it'll be a nice base color to wear over the next week. So, sorry if you're shaking a little bit. This is my top drawer with concealer, foundation, powder, primer. I think I'm going to, since I literally only have 3 primers left, and this is not really a primer, I'm just going to stick with trying to finish up that Milk Makeup one, and using my Project Pan primer. This is a good example of a category where I don't have a whole lot of stuff. Next week we'll pick a new primer. I think I'm going to pick, I tried to organize this, so these are sort of the lighter foundations, and these are the darker ones back here. This one is like, so this is the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. I know Emily Noel really likes this. This is in the shade Light. This oxidizes so much. So even though it's light, it's not really light. I think I'm going to try this guy. I'm going to, again, continue trying to finish up that sample, but that might take me a little while. So I'm going to pull this guy out. This is another sample. This is like a deluxe sample from Wet n Wild. It's in the shade 370C. I got like 6 samples from them when I ordered last year in January, which is kind of annoying because I really didn't want all of those. So I need to like declutter some of them. I think this is the only shade that works for me anyway. I think maybe one of the other ones does. I'm pretty sure the other one is too dark and too olivey for me. So yeah, this is the foundation we're gonna pick. Let's do a little swatch. I don't like this foundation a whole lot from what I've tested, but it's been a while. I think I only tested it once. So I need to give it a proper go. So there's a swatch of it on my hand. So that one's a pretty good match, I think, for my skin tone. Concealer, like I said, I'm going to keep that industrial one out, but I still want to maybe pull another concealer. I think I'm going to pull this guy. This is the Merzy concealer. I got this from Stylevana, and it's called the First Creamy... Whoop! It's called the First Creamy Concealer. Sorry if you're shaking a little bit. It's in the shade, this is the brightening shade, I think? No. I don't know what shade. I'll put it on the screen. I'm not 100% sure what shade this is in. I feel like my eyesight has gotten rapidly worse. But I don't know. Wow, that looks so much different than foundation. It's a lot lighter. So we're a little bright here. I tone it down, yeah, there you can see that's the concealer in the middle. And the foundation. And then powder. I think I want to go with, well, let's go Laura Mercier, because we pulled the Caviar. I don't think I've opened this yet. Nope, I have not opened this yet. So we're going to open this. I'm not too concerned about opening these powders that haven't been opened yet. I feel like the longevity on these are pretty good, at least from my experience. I haven't used a Laura Mercier powder in a very long time. I want to say like 2 years. So I'm excited to use this and see if it's as good as I remember. The Too Faced Peach Perfect one was definitely as good as I remember, and I'm so sad that that's been decluttered or been discontinued. So yeah, we're going to use that. And that's it for that drawer. This is what I like to call the eyes drawer. This is like eyeliner, mascara, eyebrows, those things. Things for the eyeballs that are not eyeshadow. So, mascara, I think, let's just pull this guy, it's right here. We're gonna pull the Wet n Wild Big Poppa mascara. Just show you what the wand looks like on this. I think I didn't really love this, but I don't think I hated it. There's a big glob on this one. I think it's drying out. I didn't use this one a whole lot after I bought it. So I don't have very strong feelings on this one. So we'll see how this one goes. Brows, I was thinking about, oh yeah, I already used that. Well, I've got this in my hand, so let's just go with this. Let's not make it complicated. I don't really feel like making a lot of decisions right now. This is the MISSHA 7 Days Tinted Eyebrow. I thought this was going to tint my eyebrows like I have this thing that's a tint. It doesn't. It washes away. Maybe if I used it on the regular, it would tint. We should try that. I should try it for a few days in a row and see if it actually does tint my eyebrows. The problem with this, like most brow products, is it tends to lean a little too warm. Let's turn the camera brightness down a little. There we go. There, you can see it right there. It just tends to lean a little too warm for my preferences, from what I remember, but we'll see how that goes. I just don't really feel like liquid liner right now. I'm gonna go with, this guy. This is the Urban Decay 24/7 eyeliner in smoke. I love these eyeliners. They're just like dependable for me. So there is smoke right there. And let's just grab the other one that's right on top. This isn't my favorite color. This is in the shade Bourbon. I forget the other brown. There's a different brown. I ended up picking this one because the other brown, I can't remember the shade. I was going to say Trooper. That's not true at all. I think Trooper's black. And I think that's Kevyn. But this is in the shade Bourbon. It's a little more metallic-y, and it's a little lighter. Like, I think it's got a bit of glitter in it, but you don't really see the glitter. So that's Bourbon right there. It's not as deep of a brown as I like. Compared to the other brown that I used to have, but I do have the Milani Stay Put and Hooked on Espresso, and that sort of suffices for the Urban Decay one that I can't think of the name of that I'm missing. So that is that drawer, I think. I feel like I'm flying through this right now. And then this is our last drawer for today. I'm trying to think of what to pick. We're getting pretty low on the highlights. I think I'm going to go with this one. This is the Kevyn Aucoin highlight. What do they call this? Celestial Powder in Candlelight. Just because I used that opal one that was kind of dark, although the rest of them are all kind of like, I don't think suitable for me for winter. But anyway, we're going to go with this guy. It's almost one that I can use as like a face powder, like a hourglass kind of powder. I don't even know if you can see it. It's on my knuckles. You can, yeah, I can't even get it to focus. It's that subtle. Yeah, you can sort of see it on the top of my knuckles there, I think. You can see it on my finger. There we go. It's on my finger there. That was way more effort than was necessary. I think I'm going to go with the shimmery bronzer too. I'm going to go with this guy. This is very reflective, Wet n Wild. Coloricon bronzer in Palm Beach Ready. This is fairly new to me. Oh, I say fairly new to me. It's December 2021. I feel like I just didn't use this a whole lot. I feel like I bought all those Wet n Wild things to try out. I tried them out and then I promptly forgot about all of them. So there's that guy right there. Let me, again, just bring the lighting down a little. There, that's a better swatch. And you can see the highlight there, I think, too. And blush. I want to go with, I think I'm going to go with this guy. This is the Annabelle blush in the shade Pronto. Again, super reflective. This is just a mini size. They actually have their bronzers in this size, and they have their face powder, like the CoverGirl powder that I was using last week, the white powder, translucent powder in this size. They're kind of expensive though, but I have come across them on sale. So if you keep your eye out, you can pick them up for like $3 or $5. But I like this blush because it's a very like neutral type blush. Right there. So I'm going real subtle for this week. So that's the highlight, bronzer, and blush for this week. And that's it. That's all the picks. So again, we'll just do a quick summary of the picks, and that will be this video for today. Alright, here we are with this week's picks. I feel really happy about this. It feels very simple and not overwhelming. I'm not feeling like I've picked too much or picked things that are going to be tricky to use over the next week. I do want to talk about palettes. So I've been using this palette, the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons palette, just in case you forgot what that looks like. That's what that looks like on the inside. And the Natasha Denona Retro palette. Again, that's what that one looks like on the inside. Honestly, I could keep using these palettes. I talked about using palettes for as long as I felt like it. I wanted to keep using them. I'll keep using them. If I'm ready to switch it up, I'll switch it up. I'm not entirely ready to switch those out, but you know what? I have a ton of other palettes that I should start, getting some use out of, trying out. So I did pick a palette this morning, but I'm not 100% sure I'm feeling it now. So this is what I pulled out. I might try playing with this. I might put it away and pick something else. I'm not 100% sure yet. This is the Profusion Pro Pigment palette. This is a palette that mentally is always on the chopping block for me, and then I use it and I'm like, oh, it's quite nice. But again, if someone were to like say you must declutter something, I feel like this is one I would declutter. I don't have a huge emotional connection to this one compared to some others. Like, out of these three palettes, honestly, out of these three palettes, the one I would keep is the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons one. Because it's the one that I feel like I get the most use out of. And it's the one that, I can just use every day. It's a great everyday palette. Even though the Natasha Denona palette, I feel like the quality, it's just newer. You can tell the powders are newer. They feel a bit fresher. It's just it's a fresher type palette. The Too Faced one is like a tried and true, if that makes sense. Anyway, this palette, I picked it this morning, but I was waffling between like this one. I had the Zodiac palette out. I had my Pat McGrath palette out from 2 holiday seasons ago. Then I was like, do I really want to use a big palette right now? Maybe I should pick a small one. I think I'm very indecisive about my palettes right now. There's a few that I want to use, but I want to use in the springtime. Like I'll be ready to use those like mid-March or April. But I feel like it's a little too, it's been freaking snowing all week, and it's going to still snow some more, so I'm not feeling the spring ones just yet. So I pulled this one out. We'll see how it goes. This might be a palette that I put back with my palettes, which is something I'm trying to avoid doing, but if I just use it once or twice and I'm just not feeling it, I might put it back to pick, because again, this to me is a bit of a fall-like palette too, so yeah. I think I'm over-explaining things at this point, so let's maybe just wrap things up. So yeah, that's my Shop My Stash for week 6. If you like this video, feel free to give it a little thumbs up down below, and if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel here in Toronto, Canada. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye.